界交替的意外，像彼此的阻碍，控制对你的依赖。琥珀树木的掩盖，把欢呼声承载，打造最好的状态。风吹过的颜色散发到瞳孔，谁听懂？谁歌咏？对你的偏执剩下孤勇，希望中的火种。你逆着光而来，你沉浸在花海，你留下我站在海中央。你逆着光而来，你打开了雾霭，你这次选择站在原地徘徊。轮流运动的时代，重生后的崩坏，守候最后的忍耐。雨滴落的天空，迸发出汹涌，谁听懂？谁接中？对你的期望，千疮百孔，是一剑锋未落。你逆着光而来，你沉浸在花海，你留下我站在海中央。你逆着光而来，你打开了雾霭，你这次选择站在原地徘徊。剪接出的画面，模糊的视线。你逆着光而来，你沉浸在花海，你留下我站在海中央。你逆着光而来，你打开了雾霭，你这次选择站在原地徘徊。
Good morning, everybody. I hope this video finds you well. Today I want to take a little bit and discuss mortality. Used to be, up until a century ago, people lived with death. It was a normal part of life. You'd see dead critters on the farm. People would come and go. Oftentimes, if you go through the old cemeteries, say in Indiana or other places, you'll notice that entire families with 16 kids would all just be dead, all within a short span of time. Sometimes it would be due to smallpox or some other thing such as some other bug, or might be due to Indian attacks, or might be due just to random accidents and bad luck. But people would die, and people accepted that. In fact, there was a morbid fascination with hanging people and killing people. I suppose that morbid fascination exists to this day. One thing's for sure, we're all going to die. I know there's a number of rich oligarchs that are planning on living forever. That is how disentangled, disjointed they are from reality, that they believe that it's a good thing to live forever. I, myself, am of the other school. I think that we're a spiritual creature. and we're just taking a vacation on this realm. These physical pleasures and these physical trials are something that we view as a vacation in terms of our soul and our spirit. Which brings me to the subject of, is this really a hell, a prison? Interesting philosophical question. Those who have read Alien Interview would say yes, and those that follow my domain conversations would also agree. But aside, talking philosophically, if you could recall all of your memories, those memories that you had before you were born, what would it be like? Well, people, I was curious about this. And I was also curious about my situation in life. I was divorcing at this time. This was back in the late 90s. And I was divorcing from a mentally ill woman. She was behaving erratically. She was breaking into people's houses because she heard little children being tortured in their basements. So she would just break into the house trying to rescue these little children. No, I'm not making that up either. Well, of course, the people's houses didn't appreciate this woman breaking into their houses, and they'd call the police. And in Massachusetts, she was arrested and incarcerated, and the judge sentenced her to 9 months in a medical facility. And while she was there in this medical prison, she met another guy who was a alcoholic wife beater with mental illness, and she felt that he understood her. So she left me. And that in itself is another story. It was a very difficult time for me personally. And during that period of time, I wanted some answers and help. But of course, I was alone. I was at a job where I couldn't talk to people on a personal basis. We're all in our own individual cubicles. While I had friendships, they weren't deep friendships. There was nobody who I could really talk to. And I was looking for answers. I wasn't part of a community. I didn't have a support network. But I had read a lot, and Journey to Heaven by Dr. Newton had made a big impact on my life at that time. And I wanted to know what my life, why did I as consciousness, why did I as soul choose this life? I wanted to know. I really did. So I used the internet and found people who did past life regressions who were trained by him. And there were 3 that were active. One was in Denver, Colorado, not so far from my brother. And one was near me in Massachusetts. And so I made an appointment, paid the money, and had a past life regression hypnosis. Whether you believe in this kind of thing or not is immaterial. The point is, I went to somebody that helped me answer my questions. So basically, I was put under a trance, and I had a list of questions I wanted answered, and the person had me answer those questions. I was in a very, very relaxed state at this time. The regression interview lasted 3 hours, and it was long. Took a hell of a lot out of me. But I ended up far better for it. If any of you are trying to find answers, the one who can tell you the answers to your questions is yourself. Find a qualified hypnotist who understands the kinds of subjects that you talk about. Pay the money, make an appointment. If you don't have the money, barter. And they will provide you with some answers. It made a big difference in my life, I will tell you. And was very helpful. Also very interesting and illustrative. For those of you who are sitting there wondering and wanting to know what happened, well, it's very simple. I was regressed back in my years. I think first till, at that time I would think I was in my early 40s. My 40s perhaps, or late 30s. And then I was regressed back to my 20s, and then regressed again until I was a teenager, and then regressed further back until I was like 5 years old, and then 2 years old, and then the moment of birth, and then before the moment of birth. And it was very, very interesting. It unlocked memories that I just didn't think was important. It unlocked an entire slew of memories. Like the color and style of the bedspread that was on my bed when I was 5 years old. The little blind that had this little, it looked like this little ring. You could pull the ring and the blind would go down. The toy gun that I had when I was 5. These things. These things were very, very important to me. And then when I got into what happened before I was in this life, my questions were general, and so the selection of this life path and why it was me and everything became clear to me because I recalled it. This understanding that you are not your physical body, that you are something else, is profound. Those that have a morbid fascination with death might, in one way or the other, have a fascination of a body without a consciousness. What is it like? And it's obviously a block of wood. It's nothing. The body becomes animated because of consciousness. So what is consciousness? I've argued, and my other videos discuss what consciousness is. It's a division of soul, which is in itself is a division from an is-be. And we can get into all kinds of nuances regarding that, and I'm sure many of you are waiting with bated breath for me to provide illumination onto those subjects. I only know what I know, guys. I can ask the commander. The commander seems to know, but you know, something that I've always been told in Majestic. Majestic says, they tell you what you want to know. That's incorrect. They tell you the truth in a way that you can understand it. How can you explain boudin, which is a Louisiana sausage, to somebody who's never had one? Well, you can say it's long, it looks like a sausage with white flakes through it, with white and black flakes through it, and when you bite into it, it's very flavorful and tasty. That's not really a good description. There's other ways of doing it. So the person may come off with the idea that it's sort of like a hot dog with a little spice, but that's not it. So you see, guys, it's difficult to explain difficult concepts to somebody who's never been exposed to it, which is one of the problems that I have with communicating with the commander, because the communication is not like somebody's talking to me. It's a flood of emotions and thoughts and images and feelings that I verbalize, then I write down, then I clean up, and then I massage to make sense. It's different. All of this has to do, everything has to do with you and your consciousness. It all does. It has to do with my consciousness. I'm sorry, guys. So how does consciousness matter to you? Well, it's who you are, right? At least as far as the body is concerned, it's your consciousness, right? There's this misunderstanding that consciousness is the same as mind. No, it's not. Mind is a machine. Mind is a machine. The heart is a machine. Okay? Consciousness lies in another state that uses the body in the physical realm. Consciousness is something else. You are consciousness. The person who's watching this is consciousness. And you use your consciousness to control your brain to lift your arm. Control your brain to put your arm down. That spark is consciousness, but the action is done by the brain. Consciousness and the memories lie outside this physical body. That's fundamental. So if you go ahead and read the conventional literature of the day, they say, well, we found where memories are stored in the brain. No, you haven't. You found access points of memories to the brain, but you didn't find where they're stored. You found access points. I related in my Cat Heaven video about how a cat who is definitely dead, rigor mortis is beginning to set in, communicated to my wife and directed us to a kitten. That consciousness lay outside of the physical body. The physical body was dead, but the consciousness still existed. That physical consciousness had attachments and were able to communicate to others who were also sensitive. At that time, my wife was very sensitive. This is the wife who had the mental illness. She was very sensitive. I'm not maligning mental illnesses, nor am I giving it special treatment. I'm just saying the brain works in strange ways. Remember, the brain is a tool. It's a machine. Her consciousness was a very kind and loving person, but her brain was dysfunctional. It had problems. And that affected interpretation and sensory inputs for her. That's another subject whatsoever. So, the idea that we're consciousness is the morbid fascination with death. If you're intimate with death, if you're living through a famine or through a war, or your day-to-day job is in hospice or dealing with dead people, you look at life a little bit different because you're dealing with all these experiences and deaths. Makes you wonder why you're living your life and what kind of events that you're dealing with and why you're dealing with them. Right? Right? These thoughts and everything has brought to me to the understanding or the conclusion, depending upon your point of view, not my point of view, but I'm not talking about my point of view, that it's our experiences in the physical realm that has value. The experiences generate thoughts. Thoughts generate memories. Thoughts and memories lie outside the physical body as part of our consciousness, which also lies outside the physical body. So therefore, the physical body is a machine, a mechanism to give us experiences. The experiences create memories and thoughts. Those memories and thoughts alter our consciousness. Certainly, a person who has experienced something tragic in a relationship will be very hesitant to get into another one. Right? So for those of you who are wondering, why do I have to go through this? And that's because of your template, your environment that surrounds you, your template. Your consciousness chose that for these experiences because afterwards, when the dust all settles, you will be a better person for it in some way. I talk about the mantids, and the mantids are another nifty name for the guardian angel, which I've talked about, which is basically the part of you that is disconnected from you. Whoa, that's deep. Whoa. It's the part of you that's disconnected from you. It's like another person, a stranger, an extraterrestrial, an angel. It's the part of you that's disconnected from you. That part is intimate with you. And that part defines your template, your reality that you enter upon when you are consciousness and you enter into this world. I think a lot of this is review for a lot of long-term Metallic Man followers. But these are, sometimes you say things in basic ways, and it strikes home important points for people that's going through things at this very moment, right? And this morbid idea, this morbid fascination with death is actually a fascination of consciousness. Is there something different than our physical being? And I argue that there is. Now, since we are more than our physical body, and we're going through whatever we're going through, doesn't it seem to be a good idea to make the life that we have in the physical the best that we can? Don't you think that if you do a little bit better than other people, that you just try to be kind and make friends and eat well, that you're actually getting the better experiences from this life? Don't you think? If you bought a vacation trip to Hawaii. And don't you think you would like to have stay at a nice hotel, try the local cuisine, try some local fish there, walk on the beaches or climb the volcanoes? Don't you want to have the Hawaiian experience with the grass skirts and the hula dancing and go to tiki bars? Or do you just want to go there, get a cheap motel room and watch soap operas or your regular internet fare? Just do it in that location. That's what I see. I went to Fiji and I was staying at a resort, and there's a lot of 20-something people, and they were just browsing and cruising the internet on their laptops at the tables there on the beach, not enjoying the beach, not enjoying the environment. Fiji is a nice place, mind you, not as nice as Juhai. Actually, it was the beaches were kind of bland, but Pago on the other, American Samoa, now those were nice beaches, but I'm getting sidetracked here. The idea here and the point that I'm trying to make is, as consciousness, you enter this realm, so don't you think it's a good idea to make the best of what you have? And if it's too much, then change your realm, change your template, which I've discussed before. It's very, very important things, guys. And you see, that's my point. Make the most out of your life. If you believe that you are consciousness occupying a body, then it makes sense for you to treat the body well and get a wide diversity of experiences. Be a little adventuresome. One of the followers told me yesterday about their experiences in a more colorful role. A very domineering personality role, no less. Be adventuresome. Live life. Eat good food. Life is too short to eat crappy, fast food made with the cheapest ingredients and loaded with GMOs. Make friends. Social discourse. Just sit down and drink some tea with some people, some friends of yours, old-time friends or new friends. If you're in England or Scotland or Ireland, go to the pub. Talk up a storm. Maybe get some bangers and mash, huh? If you're in Australia, go to brasserie. Or if you don't have the money, just get a friend and say, you know what? I want to take a hike over there in that national park and come with me. Just make some friends. Social interactions, guys. It's really, really important. You'll be better for it. You'll be doing better for it. You'll appreciate your life more for it. And people. You'll have a more colorful life, a better life, a happier life. You won't be caught up in a funk. As I said in my other video, funky times, funky times. Get out there. Get out there. Who knows what lies ahead if you don't just try. And remember, as I've always told my staff, I say, look guys, if you don't ask, the answer is no. So you have to ask. It's a vector. It's either no or you ask. And don't be afraid of rejection, guys. Just don't be afraid. Fear's not good. Don't be afraid of it. People, know this. You've got an exciting life ahead of you, and opportunities are coming up. They really are. At this time, this historical period of time, lots of opportunities. New stuff, unheard of stuff. Great people to meet, good food to eat. Opportunities for profitable and enjoyable lifestyles. And it's all happening now. You'll do fine. Just be the Rufus. Take care of dogs and cats. Be a little conservative in your, or traditional in your lifestyle. And people, know one thing. I believe in you.
没有尽头，风景在身后走，偶尔停下来片刻，放轻松深呼吸。海天连一线，看隐藏都不远，离开城市了，发现一张崭新的脸。快乐不需要装 WiFi， 歌声在风里飞很快，追过来是爱。蔚蓝的天空在 say hi， 偶尔有眼泪也无害。I say hi， 我还想要再更嗨更嗨。相摆在窗外，咱们期待，你要不要一起来？你要不要一起来？把心里打开，就听见天籁，想要的统统找回来。我今天要自由，明天也要自由，我们都爱自由，自由，自由，生活就该自由。我今天要自由。我的好朋友，如果你感同身受，你会明白我自由的生活。我想要的多，别太久了，偶尔让自己停落，跟我享受着傍晚的草坪和萤火。没有很多钱在口袋，反而会活得更自在。I say hi， 我还想要再更嗨更嗨。相摆在窗外，咱们期待，你要不要一起来？你要不要一起来？
滑得挺好啊。
就听见天籁，想要的统统找回来。我今天要自由，明天也要自由，我们都爱自由，自由，自由，生活就该自由。相摆在窗外，咱们期待，你要不要一起来？心里打开，就听见天籁，想要的统统找回来。我今天要自由，明天也要自由，我们都爱自由，自由，自由，生活就该自由。我今天要自由，明天也要自由，我们都爱自由，自由，自由，生活就该自由。我今天要自由。
来抖音极速版看视频领现金。